Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Too Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Too Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm pretty excited today. I've got our good friend, author Walter Esselman, is back for the fifth time, I think. This is number 5.
This is.
I really got to come up with a shirt or something.
I thought there was a jacket involved, but sure will do.
Well, a jacket would be nice. Yeah, that's the Saturday Night Live.
No, it's all good.
The smoking jacket, and the Masters has their little jacket. Maybe I could do like I don't know, maybe a leather jacket would be nice.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, like a retro jacket or something. I don't know. I got to put some thought to that because you're the first, I think, to hit 5, but I've got a couple at 4 that are.
Yeah. So I remember we did 4 last August, and I was so geeked to come back on, and I had to be number 5. What can I say?
I wanted to be
first. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
As long as you keep writing, we'll just keep going.
Wait until we break into the audiobooks, I mean.
I know. Well, how's that going? Have you started any of that yet?
Absolutely. On my website, waltergesselman.com, there's a whole audiobook section with 4 books have been already turned into audio. And so so this wonderful guy back in back last July at the Motor City Nightmares. If you're anywhere near Novi at the end of July, Motor City Nightmares is awesome.
I've heard that. I've heard that's a great event.
Yeah, I love it. I'm definitely going back. And he was like, "Oh, you should have audiobooks." And I'm like, I don't want to sit there and record it. I don't ever really the thing. And I have too good a voice. I can't pawn it off on someone else. And he was just like, well, check out 11 Labs. And I was like, oh. And so I dove into it. I started checking it out, and it's a text to speech. And I created an AI clone voice. Actually.
Oh, yeah. So you have to read some stuff into it so it gets your voice, but then it reproduces it, right?
Yeah, I sat for 3 hours and read Bad Blood. I got about 100 and some pages in, and then I took that and gave that to them. And it's been a learning experience. I actually started I put a couple videos together to help people not make the same mistakes I did.
That's right.
That's the thing about being the trailblazer. But actually, it's amazing. I have Super Hormax, Liberty's Run. I'm working on Bad Blood right now. Dragonson is after that. Kathmandu is already done. So the Kathmandu book, and there's even a couple of radio dramas in there, and it all sounds like me. So I have to sit there and go through every bit though. So to take out sometimes there's a little, and sometimes you hear my breathing.
So you got to play with it, but it's got to be easier than just sitting there and actually reading the whole thing.
That's my thought. You don't have to do multiple takes. Sometimes it doesn't pronounce something right. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I think I forgot a word there. So, but it's it has each one has original music and some sound effects, not too many, just enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, Blood should be out. I'm hoping in the next month or two.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, I'm happy
Yeah.
for you. I remember last time back when last fall when you were on, you were talking about that, but you
Yep.
hadn't started it yet.
Oh God, I've literally done almost nothing else since then. I've been just editing audio, trying to learn how to do this. I use a so 11 Labs does the text to speech in my voice, and then I take it to an app called
Oh yeah, we
Audacity.com,
use
or
Audacity. Yeah.
yeah, or Sound Lab. For some reason on the iPad it's Sound Lab, but it works great. And so I was literally in the park today on my lunch break, going through sound.
Amazing. I
I'm
love
at
that.
I'm at hour and a half into Bad Blood out of like 9. Yeah, well, what can you do?
Yeah,
But it's going
just
well.
keep working.
It's actually kind of nice because I had it, like Super Horror Max and Liberty. I had read them a billion times, so it wasn't as much fun. But now getting to do Bad Blood, and to do Dragon Son will be a lot of fun because it's just great to hear those
Well, you
stories
haven't worn
again.
yourself out on them yet. Although, I'm such a fan of the Liberty's Run books, but
Yeah,
there's something special with Supermax. I don't know where, I think that was our first one where we kind of talked through and stuff. And
yeah.
I kind of love that one.
There is something really wonderful about it. And part of it is just I didn't I didn't plan for it, but that Lovecraft and Max creating this familial bond where at first he's kind of like, "What are you doing here, kid?" To being they're completely dependent upon
That's
each
right.
other, and they got each other's backs.
Yeah.
So it's so funny.
It
Someone
hits a
actually,
lot of different genres if you really think about it.
mhm,
It's because you go in, you think it's a horror thing, or maybe action, maybe, or a little
yeah,
sci-fi or something. But it's all kinds of stuff.
this nice young lady Shelby, who I met at Great Lakes Comic Con. That's usually February
Yeah.
in Michigan. That's fantastic. But she really loved the fact that the zombie movies were partly started by the government as to help people know what to do. You know,
Just in case.
if you're in a zombie outbreak, they're slow. Shoot them in the head.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Actually,
Just make sure that you can move faster than somebody.
right. And actually, there is it. It's a little Easter egg. Probably no one would ever get it, but when they're talking about George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, and they're
Yep.
talking about that there was an outbreak in Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
went back and looked where he was. I'm
Oh,
pretty
I
sure it's
love
Brooklyn.
that, Walt. That's a really
Yeah.
good one. Yeah, that's a good
So
Easter egg.
so that's why Romero was kind of like when the government said, "Hey, we need help." It's like, yeah, I don't want anyone else to, have this happen like Brooklyn did. So, I mean,
Yeah,
they'd probably just beat him down. I mean, it's Brooklyn,
that's
you
right.
know. but, some little podunk town in the middle of Kansas, they might not know what to do.
That's right. Yeah,
They
that's
might,
awesome. That's awesome. So we got
so,
a couple new ones to talk about today,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So
mhm,
so
yeah.
you mentioned Dragon Son. So let's start with that one. So it's Dragonson Tales. So which is
Oh,
it's an anthology, right?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
actually stories from really from that I wrote back in 2009 or 10,
Yeah.
going up to more recently. And it's so Dragon Son is about a kid adopted by a dragon.
Yeah.
His mom had just lost her first egg, and her idiot mate um, decided to bring this little baby to her. And here's a snack, feel better. So we can get past
Yeah.
this whole being, sad thing, and she was, of course, like, hell no. She pulled him towards her, and I actually had to research that some lizard type creatures do produce milk. And because when she pulls him to her, he's a baby, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, look at this lunch." Um, Surprisingly, he survived. His mom wants to know that that was completely an accident
That's
because he
right.
really shouldn't have survived.
That's right.
She doesn't want anyone thinking she's a bad mom.
That's right.
And then she eventually had to be convinced by the one of the human dealers that would come through the caves where she lived, had to convince her that yes, humans do wear clothes, so it probably should be good to put some clothes on him. She thought he was trying to get money, so
Yeah, I kind of love that. So is it kind of a comedy?
yeah, there's a very comedic aspect of it
Yeah.
when, like in the very first story, because I started writing book one, which hasn't been published yet. After I just finished another book, I was just like, this is a really cool idea. I'm going to write a little bit of it and then get back to the sequel to the book that has not been published yet at all,
Yeah.
humorously. And So I started writing a bit and a little, and then in 40 pages in, I'm like, well, I guess I'm writing a book. So, and it's great because you know, Gideon is the boy adopted by the dragon,
Yeah.
and he can breathe fire. He has because of the dragon's milk, and he has this ability to negate his gravity. I kind of figured that's how dragons fly. They negate their gravity so they can,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like that. That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. And his best friend in the whole world is Pavataro, who is a 15-year-old dragon. So they're about the same height at this point. And they go on all these adventures together. And they
It's got a
usually
little bit
mix
of
it.
a little bit of Tarzan element to it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, except it's a dragon instead of apes, but
He's a little short, but he's never kind of realized it because everyone in his world is 20 feet tall.
that's right.
So and and in that mix is Brianna. Brianna is this water mage from the water nymph, uh, the nation, Nymphari nation.
Yeah.
And the problem is she's an aristocrat. She's not allowed to do magic. There is an old standing rule that the upper classes can't do magic, only the lower classes. And now they're all
Does it
living in
is
caves.
using magic kind of looked down on? You know, it's beneath them. Is that why they
She could
don't do it in
actually
the
get
upper class?
broken.
Oh,
Actually, her aunt got literally broken. They came down on her pretty hard,
yeah.
so she's had to leave. She's had to leave her home, and so Gideon and Pavataro and her live in Bon-sur-Terre, and this city in the middle of it's kind of a South of France sort of city
Yeah.
that's on the water, and she gets to practice magic, and no one comes after her, you know. And the boys are usually trouble. They're the easiest characters to start a story with. I just start with them arguing as they're going off on where I need them to be, as in it's your fault. No, 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 it's your fault.
Right. You know, I already think this would make a good comic book.
You would make it, yeah, absolutely. I would. It
Like a
would be really
graphic novel type comic. It'd be great.
right, yeah, or an animated series or something
Oh,
animated because
animated series. Kind of like something like Vox Machina, that type of animation. That'd be awesome.
I don't, you know what, or more Studio Ghibli.
Oh, I
I
like
might
that.
go. Yeah, I would think a little more Ghibli would be have the fantastical elements of because they're usually just trying to help people. Sometimes
Uh-huh.
they get roped in early on for flying when they help some wolves. The local wolf population is being attacked because there's a werewolf out there,
Yeah, yeah.
and so they end up having to try and they agree to help try and figure out who the werewolf is. You know, putting themselves into peril. There's a lot of peril. The boys are always getting into trouble, but you know,
Did you
and
write this as more young adult, or is it
kind
more
of came
adult
out
friendly?
as more young adult. I mean, I just kind of followed the storyline, you know, and
I'm
there's
just thinking
still,
it's this one sounds like I could see teenagers getting into this.
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, even younger. I mean, middle school. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's all very chaste, and you know, and on it, you know, uh, the the what triggered Gideon's well, actually, what triggered everything was Gideon didn't know he could well, he doesn't fly so much as not plummet. So he was falling, and he his magic opened up in him, and he fell right in front of Brianna on this rock, who was sunning herself, and he was so glad he kissed her. And then he ran off because he was gonna, you know, his Pavataro was, you know, dealing with a problem, and she started speaking this prophecy, and that's what happens in book one. And but that's kind of it, is that they're 15, you
Yeah,
know, and so I it's chased by the fact that they're bloody 15.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there's
They're a late
even
start.
yeah, well, and in an agrarian society like that, you probably would be married by that, you know.
That's
And
right.
most, in fact, she was going to be married off, and now she gets to study magic and bon super with the wizard Al. So, and who's actually a who looks like a Gandalfian wizard, big beard and
Yeah.
top hat, no, and is actually a young woman. So, um,
You're
she
none of your people are ever who they seem. They always have depth to them.
yeah, it was she, and there's even a whole story with Al and Brianna, the Wizard Con, you know, where they go off on their own adventures.
Yeah,
So
you could do
most
a
of
lot.
them
Like
have
you've
Gideon
created a
Pavataro.
whole world there.
Yeah, it's really, there is so much depth in it. There's so much, and this is only one continent of seven. There's another continent, Dringenberg, which is actually in kind of a World War II sort of phase. They're, I don't know, magic, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but actually, engineers are not thought of well because they destroy the environment.
Right.
So there you go.
You know,
Um,
this would be a very good role playing game too.
oh my God, yeah.
You
Oh
could
my
totally
God, that
make
would
it
be so
into a
much.
role playing game.
Yeah, because you could totally play a dragon.
Yeah.
So you could.
Well, because my son Brett does it some. There's systems out there that you can basically create your own game, and there's systems that you can adapt to just about anything. And he does that with some of his campaigns and stuff. But yeah, this one would
Yeah,
you could tell. I'd play in that world.
I I would totally love to, you know, to do that. That would be great.
Yeah, it'd be
You
cool.
know, I mean, you could play a minotaur, you could play a
Yeah,
water nymph who could breathe underwater. You could. There's so much possibilities. There's so
yeah, yeah.
many different, you know, people. Yeah, it's and you know, they're, and most of the stories are pretty light. Some get a little darker. These stories about the captured dragon, you know, are is a little heavier because of the, you know, and
Yeah.
actually there's an, I don't know if you noticed, there's an Easter egg at the end of the book that there is a story that follows that story. the captured dragon that actually has, yeah, um, what happened afterwards. Because
Yes.
I was just wanted to know. I was like, I want to know. I want to figure out what happened afterwards because there was this poor dragon who was being chained to
Yeah, you
feed
kind
to
of left
these
us hanging
fellows.
there.
Yeah, so I had to, and actually one of my favorite bits in the whole book was that it's actually a little towards the end is there's a novella about a charity at the zoo, charity event at the zoo,
Yeah.
and I never knew I never knew what to do with it, because there's no real villain. There's no real, it's just this really sweet story, but you kind of have to know the characters.
Right.
And so my Aunt Marie kept asking, when are you going to do Dragonson stories? And I was thinking about it. I was actually supposed to do something else with Dark Myth. And I was like, that would be really cool to do the Dragon Son anthology. I can put this in
Yes.
that is, you know, because I freaking love the story. They're trying to set up a charity auction. I mean, and it involves food, which is one of Pavataro's favorite things in the whole world.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Usually it's razor deer. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, like all of your books, it's an easy read. It captures your attention. You get invested in the character because you're so good at the character development part. I think you do as good as anybody with that part. And then your dialogue's so good. It seems believable. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've always been a big fan of your stuff, and this one was no different. It was a little more fantasy maybe this time.
Yeah.
Is where some of the other stuff you got sci-fi and some other some horror
And
and stuff. This was
horror.
maybe a little more fantasy, but yeah, it's like if I'd read this and you didn't tell me that you wrote it, I'd know it was you. I could tell because you've got that. I don't know. You've got a little style. I don't
It's
know.
a banter. And
I think it
actually
is. I think it is the banter.
why I have trouble with comic books. We tried to do a comic book. This great guy, John Costas, tried. We were working on a comic book,
Yeah.
and I ultimately wasn't as happy with it because I want the
Yeah,
of
and you lose it.
dialogue.
It's hard to do that with a comic book because
Yeah,
you end up just having to, like, you can't really put them into little balloons. So then you got just a paragraph of dialogue, and that doesn't work with a comic book.
yeah. Or it's going back and forth, and
Or
unless
going
you're
back and
Al,
forth, and it just
yeah,
fills up the page. That's the
yeah.
downside of having to.
It's like, can you do that? Are you Alan Moore? No, you can't do that.
So that's Dragonson Tales. So that's ready
Yes.
now. And then you've also got the third installment for Liberty, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah. So
my
yeah, let's talk
God.
about that for a minute.
Yes. Oh, I actually, for anyone out there, they could probably just start reading Liberty 3. I really
I
don't
think you're
think that
right.
it,
I don't think that, my preference, I like reading the whole series,
yeah,
but you could actually start on this one and you wouldn't be lost.
yeah, it builds kind of nicely
Yeah,
towards it. But
agree.
so the Liberty series, one of the most important parts of the Liberty series is that despite the fact that aliens started the zombie apocalypse, despite the fact that there's zombies and giant birds, that they there has to be an element of reality in there. There
Yes.
has to be a bit of, I never ever, we've all been there. It's like movie one, they save the kid from the wasteland.
Yes.
Movie two, what? He went back? Forget him. Forget him. Yeah, if he went back, let him
Yeah, they
die.
got you out of there. What are you going back for?
He's either going to survive and thrive or he's going to be dead. Who cares?
That's right.
I never want my audience to be like, so there has to be a solid reason. Like in the first book, volume two, they're going back for medicine for the fleet.
Right.
You know, because there's this, and for those who haven't read Liberty, there's a giant fleet out. Aliens started the zombie apocalypse, and so there's zombies all over the coast. Actually, pretty much all the islands are covered in zombies because no one made sure there wasn't any zombie people bitten with them. So there's a fleet off the South Cal coast or SoCal coast that is basically survivors.
Yeah.
And in the second book, or the second volume of the first book, they're going back for medication because I'm like, after you have food, water, shelter, you are going to need medication. So actually, that's an ongoing problem. I'm still trying to think on that one because maybe compounding, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you have to find a big truck full of compounded medications. And you have to find the right stuff, and oy vey.
Yeah.
But
This, aliens and zombies, not easy to navigate.
yeah, yeah. Well, the giant birds came in because I was like, okay, the aliens that we meet in the very first story, what is now chapter 1, they ain't coming back to Earth ever.
Right.
They are never stepping foot on Earth again. So they've learned their lesson. And the zombies are kind of slow. Romero-esque zombies.
Right.
I was watching the Night of the Living Dead. The lady Tom Savani's remake. The gal is walking out, and then she's like, "Oh, I don't actually have to shoot them. I just have to outrun them."
That's right.
And so that became the kind of the basis of that. You just have to make sure you don't get boxed in.
Yes.
And so Liberty 3, I was thinking, what's going to drive what would reasonably drive our people back to there? They're in a fleet, they're out on the sea. What's the biggest problem? Scurvy. You get scurvy.
You're right, though. If you were
Yeah.
out there for a long period of time, that would be a problem.
Yeah, and I've done, as I did some research on it, a lot of explorers, died of scurvy. In the old days when I was a kid, I would have been like, "Oh, that's terrible." Now I'm kind of like, "Yeah, you were jerks, so you kind of deserved it." So, yeah, colonizers.
That's right.
Hey, it's almost 4th of July. Have fun working tomorrow, England. So we're taking the day off.
We're taking a break.
Yeah, good idea. Stick with King George III.
What's the meme? It's Happy Treason Day, Ungrateful Colonials, or something like that.
I got your treason right here, buddy. And any colonial, any colonizer, yeah, they're jerks. So
that's awesome, though, Walt. I love it because there's so much you could do. Because you could just, we haven't seen a ton of what's going on elsewhere in the world and stuff. You could really dive into that if you wanted to. You could write these forever.
Yeah, actually, I would. Oh my God, that would be so neat because 90% of the population has fallen,
right?
Or is actually shambling. Is probably a better way to put it.
Right. They're still around, a lot of them. They're just not quite the same.
Yeah, the King Dr. Toph was very happy with himself. He was like, okay, this was great, but he didn't kill everyone.
Because I feel like there's a small country somewhere that is like, I have this vision that they're okay. They've like sealed their borders. They've locked themselves into, maybe it's Finland or somewhere. They're just and they've cut ties with the rest of the world, and they're just, right there.
They saw this coming ahead. It's like in World War Z, Israel in World War Z.
That's right.
So except with the not having good gates to
Right.
protect the rest of the city. Come on, guys, you gotta airlocks. Come, this is very basic. So
That's right. That's right. Well, and so in the it's I keep calling it Liberty 3, but does it have a name?
Liberty 3, A Time to Kale.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it is Liberty 3 though. I call it Liberty 3 too. So you
Yeah.
are good, but it is A Time to Kale because scurvy is a really bad problem, and your teeth will fall out, you'll die. And they just saw that the very beginnings of scurvy was coming out, and they're just like, okay, we need veggies. Now, the Rear Admiral, Cirillo, is very much you are not going to turn the top of the carrier into a garden. No. And anyways, getting all the dirt there would, oh yeah, that would,
That'd be a nightmare.
yeah. And actually, that was the big problem, was trying to figure out how are they going to grow vegetables. I had already kind of established in my mind that there was all the islands, and there's a lot of islands outside, we're pretty much going to probably have fallen to the zombies because it's a very virulent disease, and it's
Yeah.
so it was like you could, and they talk about that. I kind of worked through the whole thing. I mean, they talk about you could bomb it, but there might be survivors there.
That's right.
Who are, your Finland, or Israel, who has managed to hold them off, and then suddenly, oh shit, a tomahawk. So you can't clear the islands, but then you actually have to figure out how to garden, or how to farm. I don't know. I would
Well,
have no
yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
So actually that brought into, and as I researched this, trying to figure out, I came across what is called the jellyfish, and it is an idea, I think Danish, Scandinavian, that you basically put a hydroponics thing on a barge, and you're in the river, so you can just pull up the water because it's not salt water.
Right.
That's something they have to figure out
Right. But
eventually.
yeah, but the
But
regular water you could.
yeah, so you could put these, basically all these hydroponic barges on, and using PVC pipes, you can have grow all these vegetables. I came across, so kale is pretty much the best vegetable in the universe.
Really?
It has almost everything you need. I'm not a kid. I'm a meat and potatoes man.
Oh, I
I do
know.
not eat
Although
kale.
if you're gonna do kale and you want to put a lot of like bacon grease or something on it,
Bacon grease or deep fry it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I'll eat it
yeah.
too. It's pretty
Breaded
good that
breaded
way.
deep.
I'm not a big kale salad guy though.
No, I don't eat. Yeah,
But
it's
now if you
it's
told me, hey, eat this or your teeth are gonna fall out, I'd probably be like, okay, yeah, give me some kale.
there has to be a way they can make it palatable, but regardless, maybe a lot of salt
A lot of
because
salt.
yeah,
No, that's a really I love the fact that you had to research to figure out how to grow stuff on ships.
yeah, and then I had to figure out how you could get it. And so there was this whole process of it, of trying to figure out how they could do this, where they could do this, if they could even do this. I wasn't even, I guess I left I mean, there was the possibility that they couldn't do this, but they managed to figure out this kind of most very elegant solution for how to do it. And it kind of just broke down in bits. And they what's kind of interesting now that I look back on it is they talk out every bit. They talk out every problem.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to figure them out in real time.
Yeah, that
And
is interesting. Yeah, I like that.
yeah, and everyone's back. Captain Singh and all of his people, Frankline and Ruiz. Frankline has somehow gone from a goofy idiot into being this okay stand-up guy.
I know,
He,
I know. That's been a fun progression.
oh, humorously enough, okay, I got to go back to the when I did. So the audiobook for Liberty's Run 1 is out
Yeah.
and available. Um, the AI couldn't decide how to pronounce Frankline, and I don't know why I named him Frankline. Whatever, who knows what authors do? They're weird. So it was Franklin, Frankline, Franklin. It was just Franklin. It and almost every different time he is mentioned, it is a different pronunciation.
Oh, that's hilarious. So he
And
couldn't pick one and just stick with it.
I'm like, for a moment there, I was like, okay, they found one. Maybe we'll just go. I don't care if I don't like if it's not right. It's just,
Yeah,
but
stick with one though.
and then I'm like, oh, Franklin's in the whole damn book. And he's in the whole second book. It's just like, but the nice thing is that I haven't turned Liberty 3 into text to speech. So now I'm learning that I can, now I will maybe put a hyphen or something.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you can work around that. You just have to help the software
Yeah.
out a little bit.
Well, when I was trying to it when I was doing Cowboys versus Nazis, it did not want it couldn't figure out how to pronounce rowdy. I'm like, rowdy. Everyone,
I
the
had
kids are
briefly
rowdy.
forgot about Cowboys, and I love that one.
It's hard not
That's
to.
a great
I
book.
mean, that's one of it's still one of my that's
Yeah,
such
that's
a
a great book. Yeah.
who doesn't love seeing Nazis get shot? I mean,
Yeah.
this is
I
you
mean, and
know
Cowboys, come on. Do you think talking about liberty got me thinking? Do you believe that our government or other governments have contingency plans for just crazy stuff like an alien invasion, different type of thing? Do you think those actually exist?
sure they must, because they're. Uh, I don't know that anyone knows where they are,
Right.
but people have to have found that. I always wanted to write one where, these grad students, while they're drunk, came up with this contingency plan, and then suddenly it gets activated like 10, 15 years later, and they're like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. What
You
happened?
know,
Do you remember a show called Threshold?
oh yes, I love.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
it didn't it didn't find
No, I
it
didn't,
never
but
found its
it
footing.
was like Brent Spiner and wasn't Peter Dinklage in that?
Yes, Peter
Yeah, yeah.
Dinklage,
Yeah,
Carla
yeah.
Gugino. Oh, I love
Oh
her.
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
but that was the premise basically, is that
yeah.
there was an
She had
alien invasion type of thing, and they had to open up the secret plans to deal with
well, and it's funny you should mention that. If you want, going back to Super Horror Max, the idea of the ghost, because at one point Peter Dinklage is talking about how the secret the agent man, whoever he
Yeah.
is a ghost. He's no one knows who he is. That is where Lovecraft came from. That
I
is
love that.
exactly where Lovecraft came from. That no one knows who he is. No one. They always have, every time they show up, they always have different IDs. They're always from different agencies, but they're always there to help. So
Yeah, it's one of
yeah,
those kind of, black secret organizations within the government, shadow organizations that, we always hear about and joke about and stuff, but
yeah,
they're probably in there. They probably
yeah,
actually exist.
yeah. And this one, Gaslight, is called, is it is just, it was actually going to be more sinister. We'll kill you if we, you know you try and expose us. But they've gotten softened over, because Lovecraft, and so
Right.
it was kind of like, no, that didn't really fit the vibe. But they'll destroy you. They'll figure out ways to destroy your
That's right.
life. because you don't have to actually kill someone to make them, to make
Yeah.
them regret ever trusting you. Um, but so going back to Liberty 3, though, oh my God, it's such a fun book because it's this whole adventure to try and figure out how to grow Kale. I mean, what the heck? I was like, no one there. I've never heard of a zombie story.
No, but it makes perfect sense. I mean,
Yeah,
especially if you've read the first two books, so you're kind of
yeah,
in that world. Yeah, you gotta have food.
yeah.
So I kind of love that you built the story just around them trying to find a way to grow vegetables.
I I can't believe I figured out a whole book on that. I'm just
That's amazing.
I'm astounding, and it's so much fun because it's so it's just like this whole, and then there's the whole, she's trying to find a way to help her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Liberty is trying to help her boyfriend because he has anxiety, and you can only anxiety meds are very loose. So she's like, there is marijuana, and this is the one place where she's just like, I want to explore this, in a safe way.
Right.
But Uncle Danny hates it. It's the one thing that Uncle Danny and Liberty will never see eye to eye on. So, and I thought that was so fascinating that
Yeah. Well,
because
that's how relationships work, though. You don't have to always agree on everything. You just have to
exactly,
respect each other's opinion.
yeah. Well, and Uncle Danny is very unsurprisingly Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
The
That's always who in my head, that's who
oh,
I see.
and you would be completely right. Well, when I was writing what in book one, chapter one, well, which was its own little story. I was like, well, who wouldn't want to have Danny Trejo be a cameo, you
Yeah.
know? And then when they asked for more, I was like, well, I'll keep them around. And then Liberty and Uncle Danny became the best friends in the whole universe. And but I didn't Mexican people, for years now have been vilified,
Yes.
and I didn't want to have this representation be like that. I didn't want that to kind of feed into it. So it came into a whole it actually made it more funny because his grandmother was like, you're not going to be a bad kid. I will kill you before you will be a bad kid.
No, actually,
So
I love hearing the thought process behind some of your ideas and stuff because
yeah,
that interests me, just how your mind works with this stuff. Because that's how you write him. You write him so that he's not evil or a
yeah.
villain. And I don't know. I love that stuff.
He did overstay his visa, but that's kind of literally the only thing that
Right.
he's ever done wrong. Well, him and Pepe, of course, was his best friend in Guadalajara, who was always had a dream, and Danny was always trying to help him. By the way, Pepe is alive and well.
That's
I,
good to
I
know.
want to throw this now. Officially, you can. Pepe found out what his calling was, and he saved tons of people, and he's keeping a bunch of people safe in
Love that.
Guadalajara
Yeah, because I was
or in that
curious.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love that. Which, by the way, you could also do a role playing game out of this world.
right. Yeah. That would be so interesting actually to write a story from Pepe's point of view that he's wondering what he's thinking,
Well, why
oh,
couldn't you?
poor Danny,
You should think
you know.
about doing an anthology just in this world where you just
Yeah.
write about like different countries and just how different places are dealing with some of this. And you could put that one in there. You can put Pepe's story in there.
It would be actually interesting to do one from the viewpoint of everyone of the president, the actual president,
Yeah.
and everyone who has declared themselves president, you
Right.
know. which I
Well,
really
you
love.
know, if there really was a zombie apocalypse and
Yeah,
90% of the population was gone, you know who's left? A whole bunch of them would just be like, I'm in charge.
yeah,
You know they
exactly.
would.
Butterfat, that really came in. I had to retcon actually back to when I was doing Liberty One. When I was doing the audio for it, I had to add him in because so in Liberty Three, of course, one of the main antagonists is Senator Butterfat, who is this fat cat senator who's
Yep.
a complete selfish. So no names will be mentioned, but maybe a certain senator from Texas. Just
No, yeah. Any similarities are purely coincidental.
yes, it definitely wouldn't be Ted Cruz.
Hey, did you see him and Tucker get into it the other day?
I didn't. I have to. I've had to stop watching the news. I
Well,
get.
and I only saw it because they showed it on Colbert, so I saw
Ah,
it on there. But yeah, they actually got into it, and it was kind of fun to see.
to the death. No. Two men enter, one man leaves.
That's right. That's right. Well, Walt, as always, this is I love the way your mind works.
Thank
And
you
it's
so much.
very similar to how Brett's mind works. 'Cause he
Yeah,
writes and I love
yeah.
that. I love that creative side of you. And there's so many things you can do with this. And I'm giving
Mhm.
you all this stuff. You're so prolific though. I mean, if anybody could get all of this done, it's you because it
Yeah.
seems like you're writing not just one book, but you're usually working on several at the same time.
There's two or at least two that have to be done next. Dragonson 3, which will be
Yes.
kind of its own story, and then a steampunk and sorcery. I really got to stop doing books that involve research, but
No, but you mentioned that one before, and I love that. My wife big into steampunk, so she'll be excited about that one.
well, it's the only way it could really work because Steam is, I mean, beyond being
Will it
super
have flavor?
dangerous. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, there's a blimp in it. So, but I had hoped to be on that by now, but unfortunately, it's taking longer and that's just the way. Now, when you go to 11 Labs and you record your voice,
Yeah.
you can go through in what's called the voice isolator, and you can clean up all the crud.
Right.
I didn't have that, so I've had to go back and put everything through the voice isolator. Which is why I created those videos there because I was like, I don't want you to make my mistakes, which were a little more expensive. Luckily, I have a good job, but
That's right. That's
yeah,
right. You're helping. You're paying it
yeah,
forward. Don't
mhm,
don't copy my mistakes. At least start from this point.
yeah, exactly. Do do the AI voice, but run it through now they have the voice isolator so that you don't have the pops and the whizzes and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, and that stuff's annoying on podcasts, but people are kind of used to it on podcasts, but they're not
Yeah,
putting up with that in an audiobook.
no, no,
There's no
and
way.
breathing.
Yeah.
I started working on Bad Blood, and the AI every 5 seconds was. So, anyways, we're gonna go to the thing, and the and I was like, this is gonna take forever. So I actually went through and every space I silenced with Audacity. You know how
Oh
silence
yeah.
works. I went through the entire 9 hours and
Wow.
took out
How long did
every.
that take?
It took a little bit. It was a little, but I wasn't working on it like continuously.
Yeah, yeah,
But
just to here and there.
it probably took hours to,
Yeah, I'm sure.
just to remove that, just remove the And now I'm going back and removing any of the fits, the starts, the words that are not pronounced right.
Yeah.
11 Labs is, I forget how amazing it is. And actually, as security, interestingly enough, okay, I got to share this real quickly because we watched a security video as part of my job.
Yeah.
They, um, if you can take, if you can, if someone's like on YouTube or something, I don't know, like an awesome podcast host, um, someone could take that voice and actually create an AI voice and then use that in a call. And I
It's kind of
actually,
scary.
it is super scary.
Yeah.
But so we went through this whole voice, this whole training, and the next meeting, I want to like start playing a little bit of one of my things because it's like, yeah, just so you know, this is not me. This is the AI being me.
Wow.
But the thing is that at the same time, it's like AI is like a chainsaw. It depends on how you use it. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, if you use it to, cut up a person, that's bad. That's bad. Kids don't do
That's bad.
that.
I look at it, if you use it as a tool to enhance what you're doing, that's good.
Yes. Yep. And that's actually why I sent you that AI art that I just started
I know it
using.
looked awesome too.
I was so excited. It was like, because there's some characters that I couldn't figure out on Adobe stock, but 11 Labs is, I forget how amazing it is that I've been able to create all these audiobooks, and Dragonson's going to be one, Liberty's 3 is going to be, it's going to take me, it's taking me more time because for some reason I can't read sound waves. This is a real problem. What the hell? Um, I have a deficit. Um, so, but this technology is so amazing because I don't have to sit there for 500 hours and record this stuff. I can just
Right.
add it in, it records it in my voice, and then I just edit it,
That's
and I
amazing.
add some sound effects and
I love that
original
you're putting in
music.
sound effects. That's awesome. I can't wait. Because I've always just read them. I have to go back and listen to them
Yeah, yeah. Well,
because
I need to send you a link.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I've
Make sure
also
you
done
do.
on waltergesselman.com. There's also audio. There is not only audiobooks. 4 books have already been turned into audiobooks,
Yeah.
including Kathmandu. Not only has a regular version, but a read-along version
Oh, that's
with little
awesome.
Bing. It's
Yeah, yeah.
the
Help
Henry's
them kids
page.
out.
But there was a really nice little kid who had bought Kathmandu and loved it. It was at the halfway to Halloween, which is really cool.
Yeah.
By Washtenaw, which is by Ann Arbor. Um, he came back and he was like, "I want to buy it again." And the parents are like, "No, yeah, no. Like, yeah, probably you shouldn't buy it again."
He wanted to though. That's
That kid
awesome.
is my hero. Um, so 4 books have already been done, but there is also 2 radio dramas.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is Monster Alley, which is 3 stories in my series about there's an enclave, a ghetto in the traditional sense of the word, a group of people, supernaturals that are in this kind of big city, and uh, adventures ensue. But there's also Tick Tick Boom Boom, which is about uh, it, it's an actor who is just about to get the call from Steven Spielberg to
Oh.
do the role, Oscar bait, and his girlfriend steals the phone because she thinks he's cheating. It came from a guy named Jake Hunter. Jake Hunter on Instagram kept doing these really funny things where the girlfriend is just like She's like, "You're cheating!" Throws the phone out into the street. Someone runs over it, and then he's like, "No, no, I was texting your best friend, but to figure out what to get you for your birthday." And then she's like, all like, "Oh no, that's okay. Gets the phone back here, you know." So it became this whole story. She sent out all these minions, and the most amazing part of that is the Shakespeare gang, um, who talk in Shakespeare. I thought I was just
I
going to
love
take.
that.
I thought I was going to just take, just stuff from Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But while I was writing it, it just, I don't know. I just started writing Shakespeare. It's
That's amazing.
absolutely,
I
it's
have to listen to those.
it's hilarious because the main character Hunt doesn't kind of engage at first, and then he gets pissed off enough, and he's because the Danish prince and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern have caught him, and he's just like, "Witless hummingbird, thou how."
I love that. That's awesome, Walt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I
So
said,
that
you're always working on so many projects at once, and they're always so interesting.
yeah, they're so varied. It's so interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
I
you jump all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, we even talked about before. There's a punk rock fable that we're working on. So, it's
A lot
I
of
don't know.
irons in the fire.
There's so many irons in the fire. I just need to make sure I'm, giving good time to my main job. So,
That's right.
you
That's right.
know,
Let's not affect the main job. That's bringing the money in
yeah,
so we can keep writing.
yeah, and we're doing good work there. So,
That's
that's
awesome.
really cool. So
Well,
it's
so
like,
before we wrap up, Walt, let's go through all your stuff like we always do. Go through the website, go through, where we can purchase the books.
WalterGEsselman.com is probably the best place to start. That
Well, and
has,
I'll tell people you've got one of the best websites out there because you actually take care of it. Most people
oh,
make even if they make a good website, they never update it or anything, but you always take care of yours.
I've been really trying to get back and doing that. I kept thinking about what you said about doing the the monthly newsletter,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I have not forgotten that, and I have been wanting to bring that back, but it's just,
I did love your newsletter.
yeah, I just haven't been able to.
Oh, it's just so
So,
time
but
consuming.
it is,
Even
and
though even on a monthly basis is time consuming.
yeah, and but that isn't. I would love to get back to that sometime, but at the moment,
You might have
the
to start it
audiobooks.
quarterly.
Yeah, maybe I should.
I
At this point, annually will probably be.
was going to say, let me recap
I
my
don't have a
year
good
for you.
place to kind of write. So
Well, you're putting out the
that's
important.
I started doing one, and there was too much stuff, and it
Yeah.
was like I got overwhelmed really quickly. But yeah, Walter G. Esselman. I have been trying to keep up with that, and there's not only it'll have links to the books, which are on Amazon, not only in print but Kindle. But there is also the audiobooks are there, and I have a bunch of T-shirts, including this one.
Oh,
We were
awesome.
talking about Dragonson, but I was just like, I love this shirt, so
That's an awesome shirt.
you know,
Well, and a very good story too. I love that story too. Yeah.
yeah,
You
and
haven't had, in my mind, you haven't written a dud yet. They've all been good.
you are the best. I'm so lucky to to have someone like you to cheerlead without
Well, I
the
feel like we've
teasing.
both been lucky. This has been a good pairing for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's good partners.
That's
So
right. It's good
you know,
partnership. Well, Walt, I'll be here for the our sixth one. I got
yes,
to get moving on
absolutely.
my end and figure out because then I want you to be able to bring, wear something when you come on. Be like, hey, I'm a five
Yeah,
timer, or at this point it may be 10 timer, but who
yeah.
knows?
Well, I will send you links to those audiobooks, so
Please
we
do.
can
Yeah,
always
please
talk
do.
about those.
Yeah. Oh
Because at
yeah.
some point I want to be have those on YouTube so they'll have little snippets so you can get an idea of what it is.
Yeah, that'd be
But they're
awesome.
on the audiobook page, just for everyone. There is a free story. The the Dread Lord's the Dread Lord Barebones Pommel. It's a bit of a, but
Yeah, but
the
that's a good free story. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, and kind of a Sauron type villain ends up kind of finding this little dog who he's just like, well, I'll find someone to take care of you. So yeah,
I like that you get into the comedy stuff. It's amusing because there's
yeah,
not that
that
much in those genres. There's not a lot of comedy, so it's kind of nice
no,
to add a little in.
Terry Pratchett. So
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
who
He's
is
about it though.
oh, there's a
All right,
few.
Walt.
Tom Holt does some good stuff, but
That's right.
yeah.
Well, so yeah, when you're ready, you know where to find me. So we'll do it again.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will be in touch, and thank you so much as always.
Always. Yeah. Okay. Hold on
Yeah.
1 second. Walter Esselman. One of my listen, he's a terrific person. I love Walt just as a person. You know, I would hang out with Walt if he was the worst author on the planet. I just think he's a great guy. But he is absolutely one of my favorite authors. I love his work. He's very prolific. It's imaginative. It's unique. It covers so many different genres, and it's fun. You know, I just love his writing style because he really he grabs you quick, and then the character development and the dialogue are so strong that you just get hooked. I love it. I love it. So he's got two of them out there now. Make sure that you follow Walt and that you actually support him. You know, maybe go to Amazon and pick one of these books up. It'd be a big help to Walt. You know, I think he would absolutely love that. He does it not to be rich. He does it because it's something he loves to do, but he deserves to make a little bit of money on it. It's really good. It's really good. So if you can do it, help Walt out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. Really helps us out. Our website's meistercon.com. You can find it's going to be 1,000 episodes in about a week, and you can find all those audio and video versions. Website meistercon.com. Our website's not quite as good as Walt's, but it's decent. It's pretty good. You'll like it. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.